back, you scabrous dogs! Hands to braces! Let go and hold to run free!
Now, bring me that horizon. And really bad eggs. Drink up, me hearty yo-ho.
Welcome to the 15th episode of Rogue Advice. We are a D&D, TTRPG, archaeology, sports, and everything podcast. A nerdcast, if you will. We like to keep the spirit alive of Bard Advice, where you, the fans, send me questions to roguebardadvice@gmail.com. It kind of looks like roguebardadvice@gmail.com. I'd like to take this time, as we do every show, to welcome in our regulars, Puffy Cheeto, River, Ron, Ruby, Tlentna, Jim, Sarah, everybody. Are we echoing? Hold on a minute. Let me turn that down. I'm trying not to echo. How's that? The echo gone? Okay. I will try this again. So, as I was saying, we like to welcome in all the regulars and those new to the chat and those new to the podcast. We always like to ask you to like, subscribe, share this podcast out. The more we can get this out there, the more we can get more people in, the more questions I can get. If you haven't already, join the Discord. We do have a Discord. Our Discord is right there, as River has posted it. Thank you, River. Welcome in from your 20-day sabbatical. But for now, I am your host. You may know me elsewhere as the Rogue, the Pirate Archaeologist, Pirate, Archaeopirate for those on the Clock app and on the Instagram and elsewhere. And for those Monty Python fans out there, there are still some who call me Chris. So, with that being said, we have quite a few questions today. I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 questions today. Plus, we've got a little bit of Archaeology Corner. And we have the finals of our opening round of our versus battle, our banter brigade, if you will. Yes, the River still exists. The River still exists. He's been playing Baldur's Gate 3 and defeating a Spider Queen or something. I don't know. But yeah. So, let's get on with it, shall we? Our first thing tonight, we are going to dive deeper into the steam engine. As Puffy Cheeto has requested, the steam engine. Now, last week we talked about the Newcomen steam engine, which was a couple centuries after the Hero steam engine. Now we're going to talk about something that led to the creation of all of the steam engines that Puffy Cheeto wants me to talk about. Welcome in, Kaz. I had to try out Friday's Lich Tactics. It was finicky, but I did massive damage. He's talking about Baldur's Gate 3. Anyway, we are going to be talking tonight about the father of the modern steam engine and his steam engine. That individual is none other than James Watt. born in 1736, died in 1819. And he was the first one who actually took the Newcomen engine and put it to work. A student of his at a university brought him or showed him a model of the Newcomen steam engine and suggested it might propel carriages instead of using horses. And this was back in 1759. University of Glasgow. As we mentioned last week, the Newcomen engine was pioneered in 1703, and James Watt was fascinated by this. He started building miniature models of the steam engine and using cylinders and pistons and gears and everything else, trying to get it to work. He also was the first individual to put a cooling cylinder around the steam engine, or the firebox portion of the steam engine, to create more power or to keep it cool or whatnot. But they started using this, and they started using it to do mills and that water cooler thing, the first condenser of the steam engine. It acted very similarly to the Newcomen engine, only, like I said, he used 60% less coal because of the condenser. Produced the same horsepower as the Newcomen engine while using 60% less coal. But he didn't live to see his steam engine propel horseless carriages. He died, like I said, in 1819, and 50 or 40 years later, in 1859, we will have the picture next week, because that leads into quite a bit of what Puffy Cheeto is asking about. Steam locomotives. And you guys will know what I'm talking about when you see next week's episode. But with that, we give a much fond tribute to James Watt, who is literally the father of the modern steam engine. Yeah, anybody got any questions about Steve Watt? No, you is the manager. You is not the manager. I am the manager. Do you think every time he asked for something, they'd act like they couldn't hear him say Watt? No, River, I don't. I really don't. I think that's a new joke after everybody learned about James Watt. So, Watt's not on second. What's on second? Who's on first? I don't know who's on third. How do we get to third base? Anyway, I agreed. I agree, River. They should have. They should have. But he's University of Glasgow. He was born. Let's see. I got it right here. He was born in 19. Oh, I'm sorry. He wasn't born in 1819. He was born in 1736. He died in 1819. But he was born in Greenock, Renfrewshire, Scotland, in the United Kingdom. So he was Scottish. So it probably was something similar to Watt. His parents was Thomas Watt and Agnes Muirhead. There you go, River. There's some I can't speak tonight. information or material. There you go. There was some material for you. Agnes Muirhead, M-U-I-R, head. Anyway, moving on with our first question. And our first question comes from Sarah. It's another question she sent me last week. Sarah writes and asks, "Hey there again, pirate. In contrast to last week's question about classes and races, if you could play something completely different, what would it be? I.e., if you usually play a non-caster, what caster would you play?" Well, Sarah, I'm glad you asked me this question, and I've stated this multiple times before, but we could go over it again. Not a bad question. Not a bad question at all, because there are a lot of things that I have never played, character-wise, that I wouldn't mind playing. Let's see. I've played a barbarian. I've played... now, mind you, I played a barbarian in World of Warcraft. I played my very first paladin. My very first character was a paladin that I was playing in Iraq, and I died 30 minutes into the game. So I had to create a new character. In Boy Scouts, I would always be a caster character, a wizard or sorcerer or something like that. But I really didn't know what I was doing until after I got out of Boy Scouts and into the Army. And for those of you who may remember, there's nothing really different between the Boy Scouts and the Army. The Boy Scouts just don't carry heavy artillery. But with that being said, I've played casters, I've played rogues, I'm currently playing a rogue. I've never played a cleric. I've never played a druid, I've never played a ranger. I've played my rogue with ranger tendencies, but I've never played a ranger. I would not mind playing a ranger. I would not mind playing a cleric, though I don't know how I would do as a healing role. I'm not much for support. I'm either backfield or right up close. I'm not good for, usually not good for support roles. Buffy Cheeto usually sticks with Bard or Cleric Classics exclusively. I think playing a Barbarian would be something that would be completely opposite. Yeah? Clerics and Druids are very strong. I don't doubt that, River. I don't doubt that at all. Druid or Ranger? Yeah, River, yes. Clerics are your healers, and your healers are your support roles, or they're supposed to be. They're not your DPS roles. They're not your tanks. They can't take damage. They can't hold aggro. They can't do. And yeah, I'm saying hold aggro, and that's a WoW term. But even in TTRPG, you have to be able to hold aggro. And as a tank, as an up close and personal type, though. I like to play a rogue halfling with lycanthropy. Particular kind would be a were-rat. He was born with lycanthropy. As a halfling, I could see a were-rat or a were-boar or even a were-wolverine. I mean, small creatures. How about a were-squirrel? Were-squirrel. Do we have a were-squirrel? Look, we are a TTRPG and everything podcast, River. I understand they're two different games, but it's like me comparing World of Warcraft to Warhammer 40K. I mean, that was my Domino's game. There's a warehouse meme. Yeah. Broad strokes of the two are very similar. That's what I'm saying. The question didn't did it specify? The question did not specify strictly D&D. It was something classes and races. Classes and races. Anyway, um, because so I just don't know how good I would be at playing a cleric. That's the gist of things. I like fine river, fine, go ahead and lurk. Um, but no, I'm sitting there. I like to be sneaky and stealthy, playing a rogue and stabby. I just don't know, and I like to play I like to play chaotic evil, and we haven't discussed. We haven't really discussed um, alignments, but I like to play on the chaotic side normally, whether it's chaotic good or chaotic evil. Uh, I don't particularly understand. Well, I understand lawful good, um, and I understand lawful evil. Um, but I mostly stay on the chaotic side of things, and clerics, at least in 3.5, they're usually on the lawful side of the house. You like to be sneaky stealth and be a rogue, so you like playing a support class then. Some support classes, but I don't find rogues being a support class. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't think they're a support class because many rogues are just out for themselves. They support the party when necessary, but for the most part, they'll do what is best for them. Tried an all evil campaign once. Group decidedly does not have the personality to pull it off. No, you have to have a certain personality to play an evil character. And River, if he's lurking still, has that personality to play a straight evil character. That's why he's a necromancer. I mean, I would want him. I would love to see him play a lawful evil necromancer instead of a chaotic evil necromancer. Chat locked on you. Refresh F page. Fixed it. Good job, Kirk. What are we doing with the audio? I'm seriously. I have no idea what we're doing with the audio. Let's. How's this? Is that good for the audio? Hold on a minute. Let me see something here. I only got one microphone hooked up, so maybe that'll help. Does that help? How's that? Does that help? It was I'm trying this thing where I'm monitoring it. I'm supposed to monitor it through here, but apparently if I have monitor and output on, it picks up the webcam cam. So A lawful good necromancer that raises the dead to solve mysteries. Maybe. You're welcome. It messes up Ron every time I have to move this thing. As you can tell, I'm in a new location again. So, I will try not to mess with anything. I'm techie, but apparently techie doesn't like me sometimes. Anyway, my sonic attack has an area effect. I don't even know if I have a sonic attack, but okay. But anyway, Sarah, I hope that answers your question. River, I'm sorry. Please come back to the chat. I miss you. I am the traveling rogue, and I'm still in Florida, and I'm going to be in Florida for quite a while. I'm here in this hotel until the 16th of May, and then I'm going to be moving hotels again to a hotel in Gainesville, which will put me closer to the Bard. So, if the Bard shows up, we can discuss things. Haven't seen the Bard yet. Don't know when I'm going to be able to see the Bard, but hopefully soon. Yeah, it's actually a Residence Inn by Marriott, Kirk. So, yeah, they put us up in good hotels. And I don't have to pay for it. Anyway, Sarah, I hope that question worked for you. And we will get to your other questions soon. Like I was saying last week, you asked a question that has been asked before, so I'm going to be putting together a future episode of question revisits. So, but our next question comes from River. And River asks, what should a fantasy society with mages who lose their minds, what should a fantasy society do with mages who lose their minds or succumb to dementia? Now, I had a thought on this, and my first thought was we have to discuss what type of mages they are. Are they sorcerers with an innate ability, or are they wizards who get their magical ability through studying, or are they warlocks who get their magical ability through a pact with a demon? But that's just it. Tletna. Some of them can't lock their magic away. Sorcerers who are born with the innate magic can perform magic as long as they've known the spell and have prepared the spell ahead of time. Right? Or is that just wizards? Wizards have to prepare the spell ahead of time. Sorcerers can cast a spell without preparation. I think the sorcerers can cast spells without preparation. So, with that being said, if you lock a sorcerer away, he could just, if he's known a spell, he can just use that spell, cast that spell all day long. Magical nursing home where the staff are constantly casting silence on the facility. Cats? That's not actually a bad idea. But without silence, but instead of silence, why not build the magical nursing home in an anti-magic field? I mean, it doesn't have to cast silence. You can cast the. You can make it into an anti-magic field. It would be safer. But you know what else would be safer? Why don't you just put those magic users who have succumbed to dementia into a bag of holding. I know a bag of holding can only hold so much, like 5 pounds worth of stuff. But if you have a portable hole, you could just dump them in a portable hole. Cats doesn't know enough lore to suggest anything else. Silence is not a bad spell. It's not a bad choice. And of course they'll suffocate. But silence is not a bad spell. It will work. It would work. But silence is a spell that can be either countered or a save against. An anti-magic field, there's no save against it. And you can actually do a ward of anti-magic or a glyph of anti-magic around the whole area, and it could, if they try to do something, if they try to cast something, have another glyph of something that counters that glyph or counters what they're trying to cast. So, but yeah. And I'm not totally evil. I'm just a pirate. I mean, they're mages who have gone and lost their mind. They succumb to dementia. What do you want to do? Put them in oblivion? There, River. There's your third one. I went World of Warcraft, D&D, and now Elder Scrolls. Some defense is that many spells have material components. Most spells have material components, and all the material components used for all the spells, I think we discussed this before, they're all puns. They're all all the spell components are a joke. So, River, I do hope that answered your question. Yeah, I was put them into a facility that's in an anti-magic field. You need an anti-pun field? Maybe. But yeah, no. I mean, we can't just go around murdering all of our mages, because what would that give us? That would give us a lot of bodies for a necromancer to raise. And here's a question on that. So if a mage dies and is buried, and a necromancer digs up that body and raises that body and reanimates that corpse, or makes that corpse re-alive, however the necromancers do it, I don't know. I've never played a necromancer, but our neighborhood necromancer should know. Does that corpse still retain its ability to cast magic? Like if it was a wizard and he reads his magic books and he studies and stuff like that, an undead mage, could that undead mage still cast magic? Or is it because that he's an undead mage and he was resurrected or raised by a necromancer, he's only a puppet with strings sort of attached? That's a question. Hope I get an answer. We can't murder them, says the magic hole suggester. Look, you could survive in a magical hole, in a portable hole, for some time, and you just let them out before. I mean, stick them in portable holes. Make the portable hole deep enough that only their head is left above the surface. Have a bottom to that portable hole, so that their head is the only thing above the surface. Endless supply of pie. That's the other question, Cats. If they died with a high level of intelligence and they're resurrected or raised, do they still maintain that high level of intelligence that they had when they died? Who knows? No, no, because you still have, look, you have spells that have material components, you have spells that have physical components or motions, hand motions, and you have spells that have somatic components or verbal and somatic components. That's the motions, the somatic, and the verbal components. So, if you put them in a anti-magic field, they can do neither. They can do neither. If you put them in a hole up to their neck, they can only do verbal spells. But if you cut out their tongue, they can't even do verbal spells. I mean, what next? You're gonna make me suggest we lobotomize them, and then they can't do anything, and then they're useless to anybody. Has the brain rotted away? I've always wondered how skeletons cast wizard spells ever. Yeah, exactly. Maybe the skeleton has been, their finger has been imbued with like a wand of firebolts. I don't know. Now sorcerers might and a warlock as long as the patron hangs around. Right, but wizards? Who knows? All right, there's an answer there somewhere for you, River. I'm sure we'll get to it. But our next question comes from Jacob again. And Jacob asks, "Yo, pirate archaeologist." I kept the same intro from last week because it's the same set of questions. It's your friendly neighborhood retriever of gold. The question 2: since you are part bard, and presumably an expert, and presumably have expertise in performance, do you prefer musical theater, opera, or just a classic playwright? What would you consider is your favorite? I am glad you asked me this, Jacob. I am so glad you asked me this. Now, yes, it is true that I am part bard. Whether I like to admit it or not, I've never played a bard, but in my professional career and in my schooling, I was a bard. And I did a little bit of both, or a little bit of all of it. I did musical theater. I did classic playwright theater. I played musical instruments. I sang in the chorus and choir. Let's see. What do I prefer? Whether it's musical theater, opera, or a classic play? Well, let's see. I was in Midsummer Night's Dream when I was in high school. I was in Bye Bye Birdie when I was in high school. So that's both classical and musical. Music concerts. I played baritone, trombone, and sang in the chorus and choir, like I was saying. But I like musical theater. I do. I like musical theater, but I also I like it. I like theater in general. I like it all. If I could go out and get a role in a classic Shakespearean play, I would. And the difference between Shakespearean plays and musical theater is the music. Is while there was some music in the Bard's plays, the great Bard's plays, they were usually only reserved for like scene changes or setting the mood. There wasn't really singing involved because he wasn't a composer. But if you look at any Rodgers and Hammerstein's production or uh, West Side Story or Bye Bye Birdie or even Wicked, Cabaret, you name it. Musical theater. I would prefer musical theater over a classical production, classical play every day because and here classical plays aren't bad. They aren't bad, and I would love to go see a classical playwright play, but they're dry. They are so dry. Um, Whereas with musical theater, you have audience participation with some songs. You have audiences knowing your songs, knowing what the story is about. I mean, one of the greatest um, musicals of the 20th century is Rent, and everybody knows the songs from Rent. West Side Story. I mean, they're musical theater, hands down. I guess. I hope that's your answer. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The guy in the desert is back. We need to take this moment and welcome back Chris, the guy in the desert. We know you never left. We appreciate you coming back. But we did miss you, Chris. It wasn't a council of Chris's without you. So, welcome back. Let's see. I'm just scrolling up the chat. Puffy Cheetah, Amanda's school was incredibly small, so we didn't have any elective classes. They were sports or nothing. Well, okay. Knowing what I know about you and where you grew up, it's mom, football, God. Family, football, God. That's it. Tell me I'm wrong, Buffy. Tell me I'm wrong. Just ignore the Pope leaving us and Oblivion's return. Totally unrelated. No. You know what's totally unrelated? The fact that the Pope met J.D. Vance and then kicked the bucket the next night. Or the very same day. He's like, I can't deal with this guy. Take me home. I wonder. That would have been neat. I'm sorry if anybody out here is religious with the Pope. I'm not making fun of the Pope's death by any means, but I do wonder if the Pope was listening to Country Roads when just before he passed away. I mean, that would be listening to John Denver as you passed away. That would hats off. But I forgot where we were at. Oh, the musicals, yes. But yeah, no. So I think musical theater would be where I would lead. I get a pass on musical theater. Thank you. You know, I did do talent shows and stuff when I was in high school also, and if anybody can tell me who is a better model of a moderator general of information, vegetable, animal, and mineral out there then you get a pass. That by far, if anybody could tell me what that's from, that by far would probably be my best favorite musical of all times, and not just because of the title. Very good, Jake. HMS Pinafore. Yes, Jim. The Pirates of Penzance. Now, do you know the story behind that? He was originally supposed to be a pilot. And a pilot in that time was the guy who steered the ship. But somebody misunderstood pilot and said pirate. And that's how he became the pirate of... That's how he became on the pirate side. Worst ways to go, not from your barge side is all I say. Did I miss something, Kirk? Anyway, I hope that answered that question for you. Our next question comes from Kirk. Imagine that. In a follow-on question from the debate on the first alcohol. And I wrote that. I wrote that part in there, Kirk, because I told you last week that I would get you an answer on a question, and I completely spaced. I so totally spaced on that, so I am sorry. But this question is the question that you wanted to know. Please tell, be this the rum is what archaeologists get into fistfights over at late night campfires around dig sites? Absolutely not. I will tell you 100%. You know what? You know what archaeologists get in fistfights about? This D&D. I have said this, I don't know how many times within this program, and even on Bard Advice. Since getting my degree in anthropology and archaeology, I have found that 3 out of 4 people on a crew play D&D. Literally, I was on a crew in Arkansas. One of my last jobs that I did as a field tech before I got my FEMA job, there were 4 people in the crew. 3 of us played D&D. It's like Wallowitz saying, you're playing D&D. You're playing D&D. Every archaeologist in the world plays D&D. Indy can't cast spells. Period. Yeah. To let D&D. We fight about D&D. We really do. We fight about D&D. We don't fight about alcohol because majority of us drink it, but everybody has their own preference. Like my preference isn't just, and I'm going to do this and hopefully not pull myself out of my computer. My preference is not just rum, although I do have a bottle of 12-year here. But my preference is vodka and rum. I drink Guinness. I drink, I just quoted the Big Bang Theory. I drink Guinness. I drink beers. I mean, I cut my teeth on Old English and Steel Reserve. So anyway, but yeah, no, we don't fight over alcohol. We actually embrace it, and we drink with our compadres. We drink with each other. We toast each other. We fight over D&D, but we drink with each other. We respect each other enough to know we drink. I realized a while ago that I don't like alcohol much, but I find it very interesting. Well, that's respectable, Kirk. That is respectable. I just found out Tuesday that my best friend in the whole world has never touched a drink of alcohol. Has never drank. I could have swore we were drinking beers when we was. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Cats drinks German beers and stouts typically. Oh, that is right. Thank you, Cats. I did. I don't know if I told you guys this or I was talking about the monk beer. And Katz just reminded me about it. Well, not just reminded me about it, but what he said about Germany reminded me about it. And we were talking, we were discussing the oldest beer, and it was the beer question. And I told you guys I would get back to you on that. Kreuzberg. Kreuzberg. The Holy Mountain of Franconia. They have a 300 to 400 year old recipe that they brew right there in the monastery. A place of pilgrimage, the Kreuzberg has centuries old tradition that named it the nickname Holy Mountain of the Franconians. However, the construction of Franciscan monastery did not begin until 1677. Actually, so the legend goes. It was supposedly to be built in a completely different place, but the stones which were brought to the intended place day after day inexplicably found themselves on Kreuzberg overnight. So the monastery was built on the Kreuzberg and completed in 1692. The monastery has had its own brewery since 1731. The famous Kreuzberg beer is brewed here. Even then, the Franciscans knew what was good. A stop at the monastery tavern is highly recommended. 1731. So, 1731 to 1831, 1931. It's going to be almost 400 years old. Well, 300 years old. But, yeah. I think it's older than that. They've had their own brewery since 1731, but I think they were brewing it in small batches even before then. So, but that's the Kreuzberg Brewery. But thanks for getting me off track, Cats. But we're good. But yeah, we fight over D&D. We fight over who is going to take down the next conspiracy theorist. We fight over who's going to debunk pseudoscientists. But yeah, that's what we fight over. We fight over the good shit. Anyway, doesn't drink alcohol because someone just raw dog life like there. Some people, Jake, some people just don't have a fondness for alcohol. Jim's taken a sip on a few things over the years and found that he didn't care for any of them. So other than a few sips, I've never drank either. Oh, that's good, Jim. Gins smell good, but the taste is so strong. It's too bad I cannot drink hard liquor anymore because some of them are great for the flavor scent. Now it's just beer and wine. Even that, I might quit. Oh, I can see that. I can see where you would like the flavor and the scent of gin. Trappist Monk's beer. Haven't had any of that in ages. One of my favorite books, Tim Power's Drawing of the Dark, uses ancient breweries, distilleries as points of power, fought over by good evil through the ages. I may have one drink a year now, but I just got in the 50th anniversary D&D Bourbon Aged Stout by Dragon's Milk. I absolutely hate stouts, but I've waited over a year for this to be back in stock to try. What is that? I know it's bourbon, but I don't know any of that. I do follow Matt Lillard. and his brewery that he does whiskeys in. And they do special edition whiskeys. They have the Paladin whiskey, the Cleric whiskey, the freaking Rogue whiskey, all D&D themed, and it's different, but it's like $299 to $399 a freaking bottle. I ain't buying it. So, apple pie moonshine's not bad. Chris Drake, most everything. The only thing he truly missed is True Shine. Apple pie from West Virginia was a spiritual experience. Remember to flame test. Blue is good, orange is radiator. Awesome. I am glad we got on that topic. So that is the last of our topics, last of our questions. However, we are now firmly within our last, or our second round of our versus battles. I want to go over last week's results. Now, because last week's results, you guys disappointed me. You guys failed me. You guys disappointed me. And Kirk, I may even tonight let you in on my proprietary software that I use for the 100 battles, because it disappointed me too. Anyway, last week's results are Pirates 30%, Ninjas 70% via the Discord poll, and our simulation, Pirates 40%, Ninjas 60%. That disappoints me. But let's go in and discuss why that the Pirates and the Ninjas defeated each other, or the Pirates or the Ninjas defeated the Pirates. One, because you guys voted for it in the poll, and two, out of 100 battles, we got to take it. We got to take into account. We got to take into account the fighters themselves. Pirates, they're bold adventurers of the high seas, known for their swashbuckling style, brute force, and unpredictable tactics. Pirates are often scrappy and resourceful. Ninjas, shadowy assassins as spies of feudal Japan, revered for their precision, agility, and stealth. Ninjas rely on discipline and surprise attacks. That's the fighters. Now, what do they have? Okay, we got to take into account their gear. So what do they have? Pirates have the cutlass. It's a short, curved sword, ideal for close combat, excellent for slashing and thrusting. Flintlock pistols, single-shot firearm with limited accuracy and range, but devastating in close quarters. Daggers, lightweight backup weapons for close-range fighting. Grenades, explosives, crude but effective tools for area damage and chaos. And other improvised weapons, anything from bottles to belaying pins. Whereas the ninjas use a katana, razor-sharp, versatile sword, excellent reach, and cutting power. They use smoke bombs, used to blind and disorient opponents, perfect for tactical escapes and ambushes. They use the shuriken, the throwing star, silent, fast projectiles, ideal for distraction or injury. The Karsigama, a sickle and chain weapon for mid-range entanglement and close-range slashing. And blowguns and darts, quiet and deadly, often tipped with poison for incapacitation. So what I'm saying is, the pirates dead before they even know they're dead. And I'm sorry to say that. I wish that wasn't the case, but the pirates dead even before they know they're dead. The armor. Pirates have leather and cloth, designed for mobility, but provides minimal protection. They rely more on brute strength than defense. Hat and bandanas are iconic but hardly protective. Where the ninjas have stealth garb, lightweight attire, optimized for silent movement and blending into surroundings, offers no real armor. And the ninjas depend on dodging rather than absorbing hits. Pirates can shoot things, and they're not trained fighters. Ninjas have been doing that since birth. I wouldn't say since birth, but pirates shooting things, they only get one shot before they have to reload their muzzle. Pirates are jacks of all trades. Ninjas are specialists, stealth killers. Yes, Rod. Absolutely. There's always notable exceptions, but most were just sailors. A ninja can't be a ninja if they can't complete the rigorous training. Right. I would say pirates could win if they have their ships and cannons, though a ninja could stealthily get on the ship and stealthily kill everybody. So I wouldn't even say that. Like I said, I'm disappointed that the pirates didn't show up more. But we also have physical and metaphysical strengths or traits. The pirates are physically robust, used to hauling rigging and engaging in brawls. Their fearlessness. Pirates thrive in chaos, using intimidation and raw power. And drunken fights. The unpredictable nature of pirate combat can throw off more disciplined foes, but ninjas are disciplined. Ninjas have the speed and agility. They have stealth, and they have the mental discipline to be highly trained, calculating, and focused before relying on brute force. And of the 100 simulated battles, now, everybody asked me, Kirk included, asked me, where do I get this proprietary software? It's not something you can get. I'm using the same formula that the Deadliest Warrior uses. So, or that the Deadliest Warrior used. I'm using that same formula to analyze 100 battles, 100 simulated battles. So there's your question, Kirk. But an environment considered various battlefields, ships, forests, villages, and open fields. The pirate wins 40 battles. Pirates dominate in chaotic, close-range fights, especially aboard ships or in cramped quarters. Their brute strength and firearms prove lethal when the ninjas can't stay hidden or avoid direct confrontation. However, the ninja wins 60 battles that excelled in stealth-focused environments like forests or villages. Their agility, precision, and psychological warfare allow them to outmaneuver the pirates and strike unseen. When able to exploit their surroundings, ninjas secure victory through tactics and speed. Ninjas take the edge with their discipline and adaptability, but pirates hold their own in sheer scrappiness and brute force. It's a fascinating clash of chaos versus precision that hinges on the battlefield. So yes, while the pirates won 40 battles, those are probably all on ships. But if you take a pirate off of a ship and off of close quarters and put them in a forest or a village, your group of ninjas is going to win every time. So, with that being said, this is our second round. We are going to have robots versus hoplites. As you guys can see, next week we're going to be doing robots versus hoplites. But we have robots versus the hoplites. We have the elves. I can't see that. I got to blow it up real quick. We have elves versus werewolves. We have the false Hydra versus the deranged god. Wait, no, that shouldn't be there. That should be the ancient eldritch horror, because it was, I don't know why it says 225. That should be the ancient eldritch horror. I will fix that because it should be 25 to 75. That should be the ancient eldritch horror versus the deranged gods. And then we have Hellman's mayonnaise versus ninjas. As you can see there. Most ninjas were spies, not super assassins. Yes and no. Um, they weren't just spies, but they were sent. They were sent to assassinate people. Hellmans will take the trophy, probably. I don't know. I don't know what Hellmans brings to the table for a ninja. Did ninjas didn't even have Hellmans at the table, so poor ninja, their time is up. But we won't get to them until about 5 weeks from now, because remember, on the 9th of May, I won't be having an episode. So we have one more episode before I go on my little jaunt to the Viking land as a pirate. So have the robots had time to recharge their batteries since their last battle? Well, let's take a look. They were the first ones we did. And we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 battles after that. So yeah, I think that they've had enough time to recharge. Robotic hoplites or hoplitic robots? I don't know. And we haven't decided what robots they are. Are they the nanites? Or are they nanite robots? Are they... who knows? Who knows? But we are in chat. So let's look at the good things of the week, guys. Let us look at the good things of the week. The good things this week is I have been excelling at my job so far. Bosses are really impressed with my work. So that's a good thing. Yeah. I got to see my best friend on Tuesday. I haven't seen him in like a decade. But I see him I see him as much as I can when I can. How about unladen sparrows? Are we doing... well, Ron River has sent me another list of verses, so if you want unladen versus laden swallows, I'm just throwing that out there. We could do that. But yeah, so what's everybody's good thing for the week? We got a bit of time. We got about 5 minutes before we're gonna cut off tonight because I have... oh, that's another good thing of the week. Tomorrow, I have a Pirate Fashions photo shoot. I am going to Tampa and I will be in my pirate outfit and I will be taking photos for piratefashions.com for their website. So yeah, your pirate archaeologist is going to be on the piratefashions.com website. European. Oblivion Remastered is fantastic. I've heard about that, Jake. I've heard about that. And I have a question about that. Not that I have a question about it. Somebody has a question about that for me. But we'll get to that question. And that question should have probably been answered a couple weeks ago before everybody started playing the Remastered Oblivion. But you know what? I haven't played the Remastered Oblivion yet, so... Kirk's good thing of the week. He's not a gardener, but some things he stuck in the ground last year survived winter and are flowering now. That's great news. That's great news. Puffy Cheeto's got a meh thing. Youngest had to create Insta account to apply for an officer position in the orchestra, which means I had to create an account to monitor her. I know my parents feel when they started on Facebook. Oh, you know how your parents felt when they started on Facebook? Yeah. She had to create an Insta account to apply for an officer position. Why? That makes absolutely no sense. But whatever. It's Tejas. 100% anyone who played First Oblivion should have spent over 16 hours since it's released. I just have this thing to ask about it, Chris. Game engine wise, do you still get stuck indoors? Like, does your body still get cut off? I mean, I know they're using the Unreal Engine, whatever it is, whichever version of the Unreal Engine it is. So I know it's not the Creation Engine. I know it's not the Morrowind Engine, but I just want to know. I know that I've seen pictures of the graphics, the graphics differentials between Oblivion and the remastered. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want it. You know what I'm saying. Happy birthday, Tletna. You've not had any clipping issues. I've got stuck in the world a few times, but that's wilderness. So there's still glitchy portions. Let me ask you this, Chris. With this remaster, do you think they should go remaster Icewind Dale and then go remaster Morrowind? I mean, should they remaster the PC stuff and bring the PC stuff to console? Or even remaster the PC stuff and that originally came out before Morrowind even, and remaster it for the PC? That is what I would want to see. Why start with Oblivion? Why not? Or if Oblivion is a proof of concept, even the Oblivion remaster a proof of concept, go back and remaster the older stuff. Well, if we're on here for another hour, to let know we can celebrate your birthday on live. But I don't think people want to stay here for another hour. I don't have a problem with it, but happy birthday anyway. What are your plans for your birthday tomorrow? Do you plan on going out to restaurants, so to speak? Morrowind, yes, the older stuff might have more issues, just in not being true 3D. I feel like I am playing it for the first time, despite playing it over a dozen times over the years. Storyline-wise, it's the same. It's the same story, right? And I did hear that all of the DLC, all of it that you had to buy beforehand, or that you had to buy originally, is all there. Day one launch, all of it. I mean, maybe they could do something with the older stuff to bring it into what Morrowind was or what Morrowind is, but Horse Armor is in the deluxe, but yes, base has the DLCs. Okay, awesome. I might have to check that out. But you guys know me in video games. I'm still on Act 3 of Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, I know, River. I need to play. I need to beat it at least once so I can go into honor mode. I haven't done an honor mode run yet, so I'm slacking. But also, I wanted to ask a question for everybody in the chat. I am on the hotel Wi-Fi for this hotel. Is this hotel Wi-Fi better than the laggy hotel Wi-Fi of the Candlewood that I was at last week? Thank you, Taletna. Thank you. Awesome. Well, that is going to wrap up our show tonight, guys. We are out of time. It is 11 after the hour. We made it, guys. We've done 15 episodes. So proud of you guys. I do want to remind everybody that we are a TTRPG podcast, and we do not require, but we would like you guys to like, share, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Join the Discord. We have one. We have a Discord. Join it. If you join the Discord, you don't need to turn on those pesky notifications on YouTube because our ping bot on our Discord tells you that we're going live. You can always send your questions to me at roguebardadvice@gmail.com. That is roguebardadvice@gmail.com. And I will answer them as soon as I get them. I do ask that you please get me your questions before Wednesday, or at least Wednesday, though some of you still are getting me questions last minute, though not this week because somebody's early. So yeah, with that, I want to say the rum is not gone. Have a nice evening, guys.